My name is Anat. This is 26th of April 2020. I'm 47. I live in Diemen, which is a suburb of Amsterdam in the Netherlands. I'm living in a house. We have a garden. We're very lucky for that. Together with my husband and my three children who are 13, 15 and 18. In the whole of the Netherlands, up to today, 4,500 people have died, and there are 38,000 confirmed people who have been contaminated. And it looks like a lot. It looks like it's a 12% death rate, but what is happening is in the Netherlands is that they're barely doing any testing. They say that the treatment that the patients will need is not depending on the test being positive or negative, and they want to use now all the medical resources to treat people and not to do testing. So only people who are working in the medical sectors do get tests to make sure they stay safe. In the place where I live, in Diemen, there are 28,000 inhabitants. So far there are 70 cases which are confirmed, but of course that's much higher as there are no testing. 16 people have gone to the hospital, out of which 8 people passed away. In the Netherlands, they have decided to organize what they called an intelligent lockdown, which means that they decided not to rely a lot on the cooperation of the people. They decided measures to reduce the risks, and there are only very risky, what they consider very risky behavior that will be punished. Otherwise, they leave it up to the responsibility of the people. So they left all the shops open, and the measures that have been taken is that they have decided to close all the schools, including higher education, so universities, etc. They've closed all restaurants, cafes, theaters, bars, museum, and they also cancelled all festival and all events which gather people together. But for the rest, a lot of things are open, a lot of shops are open. You can all the supermarkets, you can go to do-it-yourself. You can go shopping for clothes if you want. You can go buy flowers. Trains are still going, buses are still going, and they're basically asking everybody to stay home unless they have a job which is necessary to keep the country running. So if you work in a supermarket, or if you work for health care, police, this type of jobs, then you continue going to work. Everybody else is expected to work from home. My children are now at home since the schools have stopped. They receive lessons online, so every morning they're sitting behind their laptop following lessons, and in the afternoon usually they have to do homework, but it's quite relaxed. My husband works from home as well, so it's a very different dynamic we have at home, because I normally am quite often alone, and now we're the 5 of us always together. My husband has had heart problems in the past, and he also has asthma, so he falls under the category which is higher risk. So we're basically barely getting out of the house. We're not really seeing people. We're getting all the groceries delivered, which in the beginning was a bit difficult to organize because everybody rushed into getting a slot and getting an order for groceries delivered, and they were they didn't have the capacity. The supermarkets who were organizing, who were delivering groceries were overwhelmed with the demand. But now we are much more organized, so I'm ordering ahead. So now I just placed an order for the 15th of May, which is in 3 weeks from now. But I just plan ahead, And anyway, I know we're going to eat over 3 weeks, so it's just a different organization. How it has affected us? Well, the focus is much more on the house, of course. We're spending a lot of time together, which is nice in a way, but but also it can be a lot sometimes. So we often just everybody's in his own room. The 3 meals per day we do eat together, and that's actually a nice moment because we are normally never having 3 meals a day together. It's nice if we manage to have the evening meal together, but everybody always have all kind of sports activities and all kind of other dinners and events. So that's something I very much appreciate. And we're also spending time cooking together. And we also worked on the garden because the garden we are living here for 12 years and we never really put much effort into it. But since we figured out that we'd be staying quite a lot in the house, we all worked together on it and finally put together. So the photo I'm sending is actually a photo of the corner of the garden which symbolizes a bit this Corona time for my family. Is something that we invested into, spent time, because it's my husband and my son who built it, this couch, and together with one of my daughter, with my son, sorry, we did the shopping to buy all the cushions and everything. So it was a concerted effort and something we put together to have spend time together. When they announced first that there would be this intelligent lockdown, a lot of people went into a bit panic mode indeed, and started to buying all kind of things. So there was about a period of 2 weeks where the shelves were a lot empty, but a lot of people bought, like everywhere else, a lot of toilet paper, pasta, beans in cans were difficult to get. And now that's all solved. There's a few things which are still difficult to find. Personally, I have a hard time finding flour and hand gel, so a disinfectant for the hands. That is also quite difficult for me to find. Another thing that's difficult to find is masks. The Dutch government is saying that people should not be wearing masks unless people are working in the medical field, because there are not enough masks. Well, they're saying that it's not adding a lot more, wouldn't add a lot more security to people. The rule is that you can go out, but you have to keep 1.5 meters distance from other people. So they say as long as you do that, if you wear a mask or not, it doesn't make a big difference. And they also say that a lot of people do not use those masks properly, which gives a false sense of security. So masks are hard to find, but anyway, people are not required to wear them. The way I live this whole quarantine is that it's really strange. It's waves. There are moments where I feel this calm, because in a way my world has become so small. Everything is easy. There are no expectations, or very little expectations. I'm not supposed to go anywhere. I'm not supposed to be anywhere. A lot of things that I normally do, which just aren't there anymore. So it makes it a very simple life. And on the other hand, sometimes I have moments where I think of what are the consequences of all of this, and when is this going to end, and is it going to be okay economically for me, for my family, for people I know, for friends, for in general people, who are the victims going to be, and how bad is it going to be for others. So that's always a bit the double feeling I have. This, on one hand, this sense of calm, which is like will never have again appeared like that, with actually so little to do. And then also sometimes this anxiety thinking about this unknown future. Nobody has any idea. It never happened before. I do see also positive things. One of them being, for example, that I discovered a lot all these Zoom and Teams type of meetings. And it's funny because my best friends live outside the Netherlands. Actually, one lives in France and two live in Switzerland. And we used to never do that. But since this Corona story, once a week we have a call for an hour and a half, and we spend time together. So in a way, this has brought us closer, because we normally never did that. Well, we could have before, but this has given us the creativity, or given us the idea to do it. One thing that does worry me is the effect it will have on people and on my children on the long term. For example, we were watching a movie with my daughter, who is my 15-year-old daughter, and suddenly she sees a crowd and she says, "Mom, it's funny, but my first reaction here is, oh wow, look at all these people, they're too close to each other. That's dangerous for Corona." So this is something I'm worried about. How is the youth gonna grow up with being afraid of being close, physically close to people, which is something I grew up without having to think about. Last thing maybe I want to say is that I feel very hard sometimes. Well, I find it very surreal because we are lucky enough not to know anyone who died from the corona. Well, I know 3 people who did have it. Basically, they said it felt like a very bad flu. They had fevers, they stayed in bed, they could stay home. It lasted between 4 days to 10 days. And they all recovered and were fine. So the weather has been extremely nice since it started. It's been sunny, and that's not something very common in the Netherlands. So that makes it so crazy to see we're at home in our garden, it's sunny all the time, we're together, we're all healthy, we have everything we need. And in the end, and at the same time, we know there is this big invisible danger. Well, there's this big threat. Well, we have no real example in our real life, so that makes it very surreal. But we keep going. We'll just stay in the house as long as it's necessary, and I hope we can all get out of this lockdown very soon. Well, I hope this is what you needed and that it will be useful for you. I'll take a picture of my beautiful couch tomorrow when it will be sunny again. Now that it's getting dark here. And wishing you a very nice day. Bye.